Coach, how do you feel about where you are right now with who you have as your starters for kicker, punter, all the fun stuff?
Feel good. I think we have a healthy competition, and we haven't solidified the starter for the field goal kicking position as of yet. But Justin Dunkel and Hunter Pearson have been doing a really, really good job as far as competing with each other. And we're just kind of waiting to probably maybe Saturday so that when we start next week, they can kind of focus on who's starting and just kind of go from there. Long snapping, I think Dan and Tucker have done a pretty good job as far as punting and field goal snapping. And then Jacob Finn has really progressed, and he's done a really, really good job. And he's a great addition to our team and our specialists. Brendan Farrell's done a good job, but I think Jacob has kind of outkicked him a little bit throughout camp and has done a really good job. So I feel good about the guys that we have right now, the starters and the ones who we are projecting to be the starters. I do feel good about that.
A potentially silly follow up. When you're looking at field goal kickers, is there more that goes into it than just making field goals?
It really is because, and I've always said this, like a lot of times when people see the ball, when it goes through the uprights, everybody's happy. When it doesn't go through the uprights, every blame goes on that field goal kicker. And I mean, that's part of the job, but there's also the snap and the hold that affects that. And if the snap is high, low, the snap is bobbled, the holder doesn't place it right, the ball's leaning, then it looks like a shanked kick and it goes everywhere in the world. And the first thought is our kicker's terrible, or everyone in the stands looks at the kicker. But sometimes it's the holder and it's the snapper. So it's three parts of field goal kicking, and a lot of people only see the last part, which obviously is the most important part. But there's also the snap and the hold. So it's kind of it's a trio effect, and I believe in chemistry, and I believe in guys trusting each other, and so that's why a lot of times we have the same three working with each other, snapper, holder, and kicker, so that they can build that trust and that chemistry together. So.
And is there something special about like Justin or Hunter, like personality, mentality wise, like knowing that they have that kind of stress where it's like we may not even have you come in the game at all in some games. There might be situations where you're out a lot. There could be high stress situations. Like what kind of person does it take to thrive or enjoy those types of, if you make one, you're a hero. If you miss one, everybody hates you for the next week.
I mean, it's I guess it's part of the game, and I think it's when you've been kicking for a long time and you've been in that position for a long time, you're kind of used to it. And it takes a strong person because you have to forget. You have to forget and understand that sometimes you're going to make it. Most of the time you will make it, but there will be times that they miss those kicks. And they have to not allow that kick that they miss make them miss the next kick. And they have to move on and progress to the next one. So the personalities, like Justin he's kind of goofy, you know what I mean? He's a jokester, but he's also, I think, mentality-wise, more of a football player. He wants to go down, he wants to tackle, and he's more of a football player. And Hunter is more of the kicker. He's a kicker personality. He wants to go out and make the kick, and that's what he's focused on. And so they have two different personalities, but overall, they're pretty good with understanding that, hey, they may not go out there to kick that game-winning field goal. They may not go out there to kick a field goal, period. And as a coach, hopefully they never have to kick field goals. Hopefully it's just all PATs. But, they understand that, and they're all good with it. And they're ready to roll regardless if it's a PAT, if it's field goal, or if it's neither. So they have great personalities for it.
Do you have any more clarity on kickoff returner? I know Bronco said Friday there were like 6 or 7 guys who were kind of in the mix for that.
Yeah, we have a little clarity right now. Paris and Mike Hollins have been working the most back there, and they have kind of like the best chemistry together. Paris has been back there for a couple of years for us now with Joe Reed and even last year, and he's done a pretty good job. And Mike Hollins, he's a running back, so once he touches the ball, good speed, did it in high school a little bit, and he has a good understanding of what we want for the kickoff return scheme and the concept, and he's been doing a pretty good job. And then Ronnie Walker as well as Devin Darrington has been back there as well. We haven't solidified the starter as of yet, But Paris and Mike have been doing a pretty good job back there.
In your role as the as cornerbacks coach, Broncos talked a lot about bringing in the grad transfers and just raising the level of competition and that maybe sense of urgency with the guys who are already here. Have you seen, now that game week is almost here, have you seen that desired effect, that it's kind of raised everybody's level and that competition has been beneficial?
Yeah, it has, and last year we kind of lacked a little bit of depth, experienced depth. And this year with the grad transfers that we have came in, AJ and Josh Hayes has done a really, really good job, and they are bringing in some competition that is stepping up the level of the other guys, and they've responded well, and they're doing pretty good. So the competition is really, really good, and now we have depth back there to help us out. So if something was to happen, a slight injury, or if someone isn't performing to the utmost level that they should be, we're able to kind of put someone in to help pick up that slack a little bit.
They're all veteran guys back there too. How much have they still, even like Nick Grant's in his 6th year, how much has everybody been able to sort of elevate their game and find another level?
Everybody wants to play. Competition, and everybody says is that competition brings out the best in everyone. And when you have multiple guys that can play and have the opportunity to start, it brings out, like I said, it brings out the highest level, because you want to play. You want to do everything that you can to play, from learning the scheme, learning the technique, doing the technique better, to even effort on the field, to showing coaches that, hey, I got plus effort. I'm running all the way across the field. I'm chasing this guy down, and I'm working hard. And so it brings it out, and I that's what I think the number one thing is the competition is bringing out the best of everyone, but also the experience that they have, and Nick being here for 6 years, and Joey and Devontae being here for a long period of time. They understand the scheme, and they understand it to the fullest, and now they're able to kind of work on different things and tighten up their technique, which is helping them elevate their level of success as well.
And then just one about AJ specifically, just based on what you thought you were getting when he came in, and now you've had him here for these last couple of months, what has he been compared to what you thought you were getting, and has he maybe exceeded those expectations?
Yeah, he has far exceeded that. We thought we were bringing in a good player. We really did. We obviously thought we were bringing in a good player, but I think what we did not expect is to bring in a great leader. I think AJ is a guy that he's coming in, he's working hard. He takes the young guys under his wings. If there's something he needs to work on, he works on that specifically after practice every single day. And so what we thought we were bringing in was a pretty good player that's going to help with depth and come in and compete to start. But what we didn't know we were bringing in was a really, really good leader. And he's a kid that's eager. He wants to play. He wants to win. And he wants to do everything that he can for the team. He's a team player, and he's a leader. And we honestly didn't expect that. We didn't know that's the type of person that he was. And it's a pleasant surprise. It really is. He's a good person. He's a good leader. He's a good teammate. And so that we didn't expect that, but that's what we got.
His teammates back there have been effusive in praise and echoing the same things. Also, they say he's hilarious, but did he have a pretty seamless, I don't know, what that's normally like for a transfer coming into a new program, so she's a graduate student. Did it seem like he fit in better than normal, or than what you even expected?
Yeah, he did. He he is a jokester. I can't tell you some of the things he said in our text messages and stuff, but he is a jokester, which actually allowed him to fit in more with the group, because he was open, he was honest, he was funny from the jump, and which made him fit in fast with the players on the team. And so that's the type of person he is, and I guarantee you everybody will say that, which allowed him to pick Jersey in the first round, because everyone trusted him and they knew who he was from the jump, which made it a good transition for him.
And I talked to a few of the guys about finding that balance between not being pleased with the way things played out in the secondary last year versus forgetting last year because that was last year. How do you kind of manage that balance of learning from 2020 while not letting it bog down 2021?
I think every year you have to kind of move on and forget. Even if we did great, no matter what we did in 2020 should not affect what we do in 2021. It should enhance. Even if we went undefeated, it still should enhance what we're doing in 2021. And everyone has to learn from their mistakes. And I think from a secondary standpoint, specifically the corner standpoint, I think a lot of the negative things that happened was due to bad eye control and looking in the backfield too much and just looking at too many things. And I think that when you go back and you look at 2020 as a player, you have to say, okay, this is what I did wrong as a player. So you have to see what you did wrong and what you need to enhance and what you need to get better and bring that to 2021 and then forget about the rest. And now it's time to move on. Let's look and see what we need to improve on, and let's move on and try to fix that.
We've got time for one more question.
Coach, can I steer you back to special teams for a second? But you got a lot of young linebackers and a lot of young defensive backs that are not going to be starters on defense. Are any of them like standing out as coverage guys on your special teams unit that can run down and hit and run around and do those sort of things?
Yeah, I would, before I answer, I would like to say this is probably the most depth I've had on special teams since I've been here, as far as a lot of young guys being able to come in and play right away. Some of the guys that have stood out, younger guy-wise, is Jonas Sanker, Lex Long, Wes Weeks. Those guys have stood out as far as James Jackson, as far as probably going to make some heavy contributions early on in the season on special teams. There's other guys as well, but those guys right now on top of my mind right now, just kind of finishing watching film of guys that have stood out and that I plan on probably making a lot of big plays for us. So.